What's up, guys? Winter Ranger fan here, doing a little look through the Power Ranger villain figures through the years. I was bored this week and I decided to get out one of each villain figure and basically do a video of how they differ from Mighty Morphin from now to Samurai. So start off, first putty released. The big 8-inch guy, very little articulation, arms just rotate 360, head not at all, sorry, I thought it did, arm, waist very little bit, but it does, and then the legs. I guess with the original 93 release they had one little error. For whatever reason they messed this up. They gave the mold in his right hand for Goldar. They gave him Goldar's sword. Don't know why, but that was one thing that always bugged me with Bandai doing that originally. Next year, Season 2 Mighty Morphin, they upgraded the putty a little bit, and they gave us a Z putty. Lord Zedd's Invincible Army. Just with one little problem. The big target on his chest. A little bit more articulation and more in size with the 6-inch Rangers. He has his arms move around. Comes with an axe and a mace that we never saw in the show, as well as, like I said before, falls apart. I actually got lucky when I was younger. I was able to get about 6 putties down at the Ames by me because they were doing liquidation of all the Power Ranger monsters. So basically I got them for I think it was maybe $2 a piece when they were going out, since Bandai released all these monsters and no kids wanted them. Except for me, because I had every single one. Next to the Tango, the Season 3 henchman monster. Arms fly. Unfortunately this one's arms get stuck. Came with this big claw weapon that you put on top of the arm, hand, extended the thing. His range, whatever you want to call it. Again, never saw it in the show. This was, I guess, after they did the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie. And just to keep catching on the Tango Warriors instead of using the Ranger Doro's henchmen, which I kind of thought looked a lot better than Tanga's. Not as fancy, but you can still a little bit threatening using the Scream mask, what I like to call it. Season 4, the Cogs. King Mondo's big henchman had great theme music like the Tangas. They come with the beaten chest action. That's what they called it on the card. He also came with a little staff weapon that I could not get out because it was on one of the cogs further back in my collection. Didn't feel like messing that up. Had them all tumble over. Next, Turbo. This one was a strange one. This guy's called Chromite. In the what was it? Car Ranger in Japan. Basically, they were bright colored henchmen. If remember during the second half of Turbo when Divatox's brother came around, he used these guys in bright blue, red, and I forget what the third color was. I think it was green. They look exactly like him, but were just numerous, and they were called Robot Warriors. But again, in Power Ranger Turbo, we got the Piranhatrons thanks to the second Turbo movie, thanks to the second Power Ranger movie Turbo. And they basically threw this guy out as a monster, as well as cutscenes for when Divatox's brother came around. Kind of wish they went to the robots halfway through the second season after the brother made the appearance. But no, they kept with the Piranhatrons. After that comes In Space, which we never got a figure for the Quantrons. But instead we got a figure for the the Craterites. Excuse me. Not much to them. Comes with a little blade weapon. They were the henchmen in Mega Ranger. weapon, and I have no idea what this guy was about. Never seen him in the show, for Power Rangers at least. Guess he was used in Mega Ranger. Don't know. Then the next few seasons, we never got any villain figures for. Lost Galaxy, Stingwingers, and Swabbies. Stingwingers being a U.S. creation, and the Swabbies being the actual villains for Gingamen. Sorry about that. I don't know why. After that, Lightspeed Rescue, we had the Batlings. No figure for those. Then Time Force. We get the Cyclobot. Not much to him. Unfortunately, he's supposed to lift up his arms, but that never worked out properly for me. I think what they did was basically they used the leg cast from the Chromite and just readjusted his arms and added some pads onto him. So if you look, they're very much similar. The same thing can be said for the Putrid. They use the same main cast for all three figures. Putrid is a Wild Force henchman guy. He'd be up next anyway. But as you can see, their legs look very much similar. Alright, get on to the Putrid now. Putrid, like I said, same thing. I guess there are a couple different modes released with him. One had the battle action for the arm. Another one that didn't have the switch on it. Comes with this big, huge club thing that fires out. As you see right here, this fires out this little, I don't know what to call it, face thing. He also comes with another missile. It's a hand. That's on one of my other figures. And he was a villain henchman from Wild Force, like I said. Next up, the Kelzax from Power Rangers Ninja Storm. Unfortunately, it's supposed to have a head decoration on him. I sold it in eBay a lot, thinking that it was the weapons for, I think it was Battle Action Dustin. Later to come realize, no, it's his head decoration. This guy, for Power Rangers, was actually one of the worst figures for villains, because I hear all over the internet how the inside leg caps, the knee joints, they always seem to bust, so guys have to super glue the legs on. I'm trying to be careful with the knees to make sure mine doesn't fall apart. Kind of like the Beast Wars Transmetal Megatron. His arms fell off due to the color of the cast in front of him. Next, Power Rangers Down Thunder, the Triptoid, I believe. Yeah, Triptoid. And the Tyrannodrones during the first few episodes. I gotta say, they're the same mold as the Kelzax, but this time they did it a lot better. They added some articulation at the knee and at the wrist. Not just the hinge joint, but also a socket for that to turn. Kelzax came with two weapons. I believe it was the staff weapon, as well as a sword weapon that I believe was Kelzax. But yeah, during Down with Thunder, I think it was like maybe the third or fourth, about the fifth or sixth episode, one of the early ones, I should say. They originally used the Tyrannodrones, but Ethan went into an internet game, somehow got stuck in there, and I know somebody's going to correct me on that, but he goes through the world, and the big henchmen in the game are the Triptoids. They come in like 3 different colors, 5 different colors in the figures, 3 different colors in the show, I think. The show was like black, white, and I want to say once in a while you saw a green one. While in the figures you had the black, white, green, yellow. I think that was it. But anyway, back to the show. Basically, Ethan gets brought back out of the game, and several of these Triptoids come out with them. The Rangers send most of them back to the game, but 1 or 2 get left out, and Mezigal catches them, and he replicates them to make his own new henchman army. On to SPD, the Trubians. They never really gave them an actual name, I think, aside from the blue head, orange heads, or Trubians. But basically, I do like these figures. The head pops off, and you have another head underneath to reveal the common henchman or the stronger one with the blue head. They also repainted him and released the orange head figure. Comes with his little blaster weapon. Same articulation as the Triptoid. Wrist, elbow. If you can see right there. Knee and the upper thigh. Ball and socket at the hips. And this one, I believe they released about 4 or 5 different molds with. Like I said, they used them for the orange head, the regular Triptoid, as well as a blue colored Triptoid. Like his whole entire body is a shade of, I want to say, dark blue. As well as 2 different versions of Broodwing. One with a pink body and one with a brown body that was released with the SWAT truck. And recently I found one that has a green body, and the whole entire body is green. Next Power Ranger is Mystic Force. You got the zombie. That's what they call him in the show. This zombie warriors. Comes with his big axe. Head pops off to reveal another head. They gave him a little cape gown thing. I do like this villain. Unfortunately, not much articulation above the wrists. Only just the hinge. Sorry about that. Hinge at the elbow. I wish you could turn his wrist. That'd make this figure a whole lot better. The next season, Operation Overdrive. The worst villain figure in my opinion. And there goes some guys. The Chiller. We got the Chiller as well as a lava lizard in Operation Overdrive for the two main enemies in the show. The Chiller was the ice guys. I cannot remember what his name is right now. I'm pretty sure somebody will write that down in the comments after I do the edits for this. But basically all he can do is his legs move. His arms are extremely weak. They're just rubber. I was able to find they released a green one as well. It's called like the Turbo Chiller. And all he is like I said, he's just a green color with an LED in his stomach, in his head, that he pushes button right here for, on his belt. And that lights it up. And unfortunately, the person I bought this at, I got this guy online in auction. The other Chiller I got at Rite Aid for about $7, and unfortunately, the reason he was returned was because his arm right here, his joint actually ripped from the person that owned him before me. I kept him just to have a Chiller figure. That's actually the only one I found. That's when I truly got back into collecting figures. Next season was Jungle Fury, and there was no villain henchman figures released for that one. The Renchi, which actually were transformed into monsters, they just put like a little head ornament on them. After that, the Grinders. The guys I've mass collected thanks to eBay UK, because I was able to pick up a whole bunch for cheap there. Unfortunately, these are another loans. They're great. They're great looking, but they lack articulation. As you can see, you can only move the wrists, shoulders, ball and socket, and then at the hips are a ball and socket. You cannot move the knees. And just slightly above the kneecap, it's another just a turn joint. I wish one thing basically Power Rangers did at the end of the whole entire thing for Disney is actually put a connection between RPM and all the other seasons, because they're basically said to be the last season. But no, we never got it. We got some throwbacks, like the General Vendrix, which is also the main henchman villain for Forever Red. General Vendrix, part of the Machine Empire. And I always thought too, without the masks, I always thought the grinders reminded me. They always did remind me a lot of the cogs. So I always figured they could throw in the connection there. That these were like downgraded cogs that they found left over and they rebuilt them. Next on to the smaller figure sets. First is the putty. Great figure, what Bandai should have been doing all along. A lot of articulation, ankle, knee, ball and socket at the hips, shoulder, ball and socket, hinge at the elbow, and turn at the wrist. Head can rotate 360. It's on a ball and socket, so you can do a little up and down head motion, little head bob in there. Great figure compared to the original release. Like I said, the only downsize is the whole entire 3-inch thing. 4-inch thing, I should say. Still better than the 8-inch. For articulation wise, even has a little belt buckle that they had. Just wish they actually released this type of putty for the 6-inch version of the figures. And lastly, the current release for the main villain henchman, Moogers for Samurai. What Bandai did this year was actually they made the design for a great matching the show. See, as you can see, like these, I don't know what to call them, the slithering scale things on his shoulders, on the back of his neck. All those are great, as well as the big plates out over his hips. But that kind of limits the articulation for it, as well as there's no wrist articulation due to the protector here on the wrist. It only comes with this sword weapon, which we now see after they released what the battle wing it was called, that the Moogers can fly, and unfortunately Bandai did not release a version that allows for wings on the back to be attached in the large spear that some of them carry. They're a great figure. It's a great figure, but again, lacking articulation, like I said in my Samurai video review. Alright guys, post any comments. I know I'm going to get some stuff for getting names wrong. I looked at Ranger Central and Super Sentai World to make sure I get the right names for some of the villains. So I could not remember two of the names. I think it was Tyrannodrones, and I did not know what Chromite's name was, or what they called the robot warriors when Divatox's brother came around. That's Original Ranger fan. Did a little review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Later.